What's going on, everyone? This is your host with the most, Philly Jim, coming at you guys with another video. And I actually want to start doing some off-season content for the Philadelphia Eagles, even though we still have the Gauntlet podcast still going on. Make sure you guys are tuned into that every Friday or every Saturday night, on here on my YouTube channel, Sideline Sports YouTube channel, and some other social media platforms as well. So, what I really want to get into today are some potential, or at least one potential trade target for the Philadelphia Eagles, and that is cornerback Jaire Alexander from the Green Bay Packers. Obviously, one thing that we know is that the Green Bay Packers are kind of in a situation right now, to say the least. So they are a team that's rebuilding. They are a team that's trying to figure out what direction they're going in. Is Aaron Rodgers going to return to Green Bay? Is Devontae Adams going to return to Green Bay? Are a lot of guys going to return to Green Bay? We don't know the answer to that question. And, I think that when you look at a guy like Jaire Alexander, he fits what the Eagles are looking for. The Eagles have really, really struggled to have playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. Offensive side of the ball is a little different in the fact that you have Devontae Smith, you have Dallas Goedert, you have, you pretty much have some good weapons there. But defense, when Brandon Graham goes down, you're missing a lot on that side. So Darius Slay pretty much had to do everything he could to take over and do his best with that role. So what I really want to get into today is why I think it makes sense for both teams. And there's a few reasons actually. But before I get into that, guys, I just want to say that it's been a pleasure and an honor working with Sideline Sports. They're definitely a huge part of what we're trying to do here. So definitely go subscribe to the Sideline Sports YouTube channel if you guys are able to do so. So there's a few reasons why I really, really feel that it makes sense for both teams. The first reason is the Green Bay Packers are $44 million already over the cap space. And Jaire, he is going into a contract year with the Green Bay Packers, meaning he's under contract with them for next season. It's not a whole lot of money. His cap hit is not too big. Let me just look up what numbers we're looking at with him. But he's under contract for 1 year. And yeah, I really feel like picking up a guy like Jaire Alexander would help this defense out tremendously. And the fact of the matter is, also, you could get a guy in the draft to fill that need that we really have on that side of the ball. But is it really going to work out? That's one thing that I'm going to get into a little bit later. But his contract details, let's see. He is under contract. His cap hit, he's under a $13 million, around 13.2 mil guaranteed salary for next year. So he's pretty much, that's not cheap by any means, but with the Eagles cap situation, Brandon Brooks retiring freed up quite a bit of cap room as well. Gonna have more wiggle room to make these type of moves and things like that. So I definitely think it would make sense in that regard. But the Packers, are they gonna be able? You got to think about the situation they're in right now. Are they going to be able to figure out how to get under? Because that's a lot of work they're going to have to do. And there have been reports that things are looking somewhat better with the whole situation. They're trying to work on with a plan with Aaron Rodgers and all of them in Green Bay. But it's one thing to say that. It's one thing to actually put it into fruition. And I don't really see that happening. So if you are the Green Bay Packers, here's what you could do. You could get a potential first-round pick, get some additional young players as well, and that's probably the best bet for them at this point. Unless they're able to figure out how to get under the salary cap. And, it's not even just Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers. Those guys are their main focus right now. So guys like Jaire Alexander aren't really as high on the priorities for them. So that's really another reason. But here's my proposed trade. The Green Bay Packers receive a first-round pick from us, the 16th overall pick. They receive that this season. They will receive an additional third next year, and they will also receive Andre Dillard. So Andre Dillard is kind of a developmental offensive lineman that they could take up on. They definitely need to surround Jordan Love with more offensive linemen, and they need depth at the position. As we saw this year, their starting left tackle missed pretty much the whole season. If I'm not mistaken, he may have played a few games. Definitely need to get younger at the offensive line. Eagles also need to get younger at corner. As you guys can see here, I say we have Darius Slay, who's already in his 30s, even though he's still playing at a high level. You still want to figure out how you're going to get a young playmaker at that position and move forward with that plan. Because if you look at the history, look at the secondary players, look at defensive backs Eagles have drafted, not even just corner position, but also the safety position. The Philadelphia Eagles have not really had the best of luck developing a homegrown talent at that position. What they've had success with is signing guys or trading for guys. Even if you go way, way back, Asante Samuel, he was a trade acquisition. Darius Slay was a trade acquisition. Malcolm Jenkins was a free agent pickup. So as far as developing homegrown talent, the Philadelphia Eagles have not really been able to do that. Appreciate it, snapback. Appreciate the love there. But we really don't see the Eagles develop very well in that department, which is why I feel trading for a guy like Jaire Alexander, who's already a top 5 cornerback in the league, who's in a contract year. Green Bay Packers are rebuilding. The Eagles are a young, ascending team looking to make a push for the NFC East, competing with the Dallas Cowboys. We couldn't quite do it last season, got off to a slow start, had a resurgence late, and got the wild card spot. But this season is about really, really competing and trying to see how far this team can go. Whether Jalen Hurts is still your quarterback, if they go after another quarterback, whatever the case is, the Eagles are going to try their best to win. And the NFC is going to be a lot more wide open than it ever has been. Because when you look at Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, some of these top quarterbacks that have been playing at a very high level for a long time are going to be on their way out of this conference, potentially on to the AFC, as we've heard rumors spiraling around with Aaron Rodgers possibly ending up with Denver because they recently signed Nathaniel Hackett, who has a relationship with Aaron Rodgers, who's his offensive coordinator in Green Bay, taking that job. So him and Davante Adams going to Denver definitely doesn't seem entirely out of the realm of possibility. So, yeah, I really feel like the Eagles could make a move like this. I feel like when you have 3 first-round picks, it gives you more flexibility and more freedom to go after a top-tier guy. Because you can talk to a team like Green Bay that's in a situation like this with a young quarterback, Jordan Love, trying to build around him. You get a first-rounder this year. You can get a really good offensive lineman. You could possibly draft a receiver, a guy like Jamison Williams from Alabama, to kind of replace Devontae Adams as that number one wide receiver in the offense in Green Bay. So they can use that draft pick from us to do that and move forward with their rebuild and get their team some young talent on that side of the ball. And then you'll get another third round pick and you'll get another young developmental offensive lineman in Andre Dillard. So those are my thoughts on that, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this. I'm gonna open it up if anyone wants to ask me any questions. Feel free to do so. But I'm gonna kind of segue away from that now. I'll try to make this stream as long as possible, maybe 20, 30 minutes. But I guess I'm gonna go into how else can we fix this defense? How else can we fix this defense? There's a lot more positions that we need to address other than just corner, other than just safety. So we're going to look at the free agent list of players in 2022 NFL free agency. We're going to look at it by position and see who would be the best fits, because I think I can remember a few guys off the top of my head, but I don't exactly remember all of them. So let's see. I'm going to start with defensive end, just because even though you have a guy like Josh Sweat, who's very young and talented, we could possibly bring Brandon Graham back, who we desperately missed. A lot of people don't realize how much we missed him. And then let's go to defensive end. Here we go. People don't realize how much we missed him, just because when you look at it, the Eagles had one of the best teams in terms of sacks last year. Not this past season, 2021, 2020 is what I'm talking about. One of the top teams in terms of sacks. This year, we were one of the worst teams in terms of sacks. We could not sack the quarterback to save our lives. And that's not something that we're kind of used to seeing over the years. So I'm going to pull up this list for you guys here, and we're going to look through some of these guys who would be the best fits for the Eagles in 2022 free agency. So there's a few names that pop off the list. There's some good veterans here. Dante Fowler, he's kind of a guy he was a first round pick, but he really hasn't broken out like people assumed he would. Calais Campbell's been doing it for a long time. Jason Pierre-Paul. You got Akeem Hicks, Jerry Hughes, Mario Addison, Clowney. So there's quite a few guys that are veterans, but no one on this list here really pops out. So that's why I think for the Eagles, it might be better off for them to kind of look at and see what's available for them in free agency, and not in free agency, but in the draft, as far as getting an edge rusher, excuse me. So I think Devondre Campbell, defensive end from Georgia, is definitely in play for the Eagles with either the 15th pick or the 16th pick. I think our first pick, assuming we don't trade any of our first rounders and we keep all three of them, I'm assuming that our first pick is going to be spent on an edge rusher. That's what I'm assuming, just because of the history of this team, Howie Roseman, the front office, the scouts, how high they value defensive line, and we've seen that they value it very, very high. At times, they even value it a little bit too high, which is a little crazy. But definitely need to get the best pass rusher we can get, just because of what I said. Being at the bottom of the league in sacks is not really ideal when we're building a team. What we're used to is having a great run defense, having a great defensive line, having guys that can get after the quarterback. I think Josh Sweat is a guy that's capable of getting 10-plus sacks. I think Brandon Graham can also be very productive even higher in his career, even coming off an injury. I still think he can get us between 6 to 8 sacks easily. And then what we really, really need is another edge rusher that's capable of also getting 10 sacks, along with Josh Sweat. We need to try to move up. That's also an option, Marquette. I'm glad you brought that up because that's another plan the Eagles could do. When you look at guys like Kayvon Thibodeau, guys like Aiden Hutchinson, those guys are phenomenal. And we've heard reports rumbling that the Houston Texans are willing to move out of the 3rd overall pick, meaning that the Eagles could possibly go up there and get a guy like Aiden Hutchinson, and then you really will be set at the defensive end position. But do the Eagles want to do that, or do they want to, really spend all 3 of these draft picks on guys at those positions? So now we're actually going to look at the free agent linebackers now and see who's there. Now, keep in mind that this is also counting guys that play outside linebacker in a 3-4 scheme, meaning these guys are essentially like edge rushers. Like you have guys like Chandler Jones. You have guys like you have guys like Chandler Jones, who's getting up there in age. Von Miller getting up there in age. So yeah, I mean, if for the right price, I wouldn't mind a guy like Chandler Jones, but I'm certainly not going to overpay for him. You have guys like Anthony Barr, who's kind of been up and down, but he has some upside. Let's see. Devondre Campbell, yep. First team All-Pro with the Green Bay Packers, another guy that they're looking at probably losing in free agency just because of their whole cap situation. But yeah, I really think linebacker is a huge position in need as well. There's obviously the Georgia linebacker, Nakobe Dean. He's outstanding. He's definitely going to be in play for the Eagles as well in the draft. And then with that last pick, what are your plans with the last pick? Are you going to stay there? Are you going to move up? Are you going to trade out of the first round and possibly get more draft capital? I don't really know. I don't really know what the Eagles' plans are with that. I just know that getting playmakers on this side of the ball is something that they desperately need to do. And yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on all of that, guys. But I am going to get off here now. I enjoyed getting on here. Oh, except let me read what Marquette says about Jalen Hurts. It's time to build a top-notch defense and build more around Jalen Hurts. I'm not trying to get another quarterback just yet, but this year I want to see Hurts throwing players open more. Absolutely, yeah, and I'm riding with Jalen Hurts as well. Jalen Hurts was not perfect in 2021, and no one would even say that he is. But he took good strides. He got better as the season went on. In certain situations, he really showed that he's able to lead this team and make the plays that he needs to make to win. And, throwing guys open is something that he needs to get better at. Reading the defense, not seeing Devontae Smith when he's open. He's got to learn to make the anticipatory type of throws, and then he'll be a good quarterback. I'm very confident with that. So, yeah, it's going to make things more difficult, I think, if you have another guy coming in. Got to learn a new system. Everything's different. Jalen Hurts knows the system, pretty much knows the basics of it. He'll probably have a much better feel for the offense itself his second year. And then you kind of want to upgrade the receiver position if you can. Not that I think it's particularly bad. There's just one weak link that is obviously holding us back, and that weak link is Jalen Reagor. And even if you watch this guy on film in the Buccaneers game in the playoffs, you saw that he cannot beat man coverage. He cannot beat it one-on-one. He gets pretty much manhandled at the line of scrimmage. And yeah, I mean, if you have a guy like that where the play is designed to have one guy in a one-on-one situation, You have two guys going vertical down the field. You had Devontae Smith and Quez going vertical. And then you pretty much just need to depend on Reagor to win his matchup. And he isn't able to do that. It creates a lot of problems. It causes Jalen Hurts to, really doubt himself. Is he going to be able to get guys open? He can't really trust the receivers. It creates, it creates a big problem when you're doing that. And I think that a guy like Jalen Reagor, keeping him around is only going to hinder the development of Jalen Hurts. And yes, I definitely like some of these guys that you're bringing up. Mike Williams, Calvin Ridley, Allen Robinson, any of those guys would be a great fit alongside Devontae Smith. There's a lot of good receivers in free agency we could go after. There's also Chris Godwin. There's Michael Gallup. Obviously, Allen Robinson, Mike Williams. Those guys are pretty much the top guys that are available right now. And I really feel like any of them, it's really not even saying much. I think literally we can get almost any receiver in free agency. Let me look at the list here of the free agent wide receivers real quick. I'm going to actually pull that up as well. So we have Allen Robinson, all the guys that I named. Juju, AJ Green, Zay Jones. DJ Chark has been rumored. There's OBJ. Yeah, quite a few of these guys would be huge upgrade over Jalen Reagor. It's very pretty much goes without saying, but Jalen Reagor, he just can't do it. He just can't win his matchups, and it causes a lot of problems. And I think to open this offense up, you have to have two legitimate receivers. We know that we have one with Devontae Smith, but we don't have a second. Well, Quez can do that, but I think for Quez to be in the best situation, I think he needs to be our third receiver. If he's our third receiver or slot guy, then I feel very, very good about what we're going to be able to do. Because Quez has shown that he's developing his skill. He's getting better. He's going to continue to do that. I think Quez and Devontae are going to keep taking their strides, but you just need another guy that's capable of being consistent. And Reagor is not that. And, there's a lot of guys that we could go after. Calvin Ridley, Mike Williams, Allen Robinson, anyone like that that's going to be able to step into that role, provide what we need at the receiver position, so on and so forth. So I definitely think that there's a lot to look forward to with the offseason. But in the meantime, guys, make sure Saturday night you guys are tuned into the channel here. We're also going to be live on the Sideline Sports YouTube channel, covering everything as far as with the NFL. In the slot, he could be dangerous, but he has to work on his route. Yeah, absolutely. Everyone has stuff they need to work on. Everyone has stuff they need to get better at. But Quez, he definitely showed what he can do when he's given the chance. And, he basically really, really did outform Jalen Reagor, who was supposed to be our number 2 receiver, clearly wasn't. So I really feel like, just getting an upgrade at the receiver position, attacking this defense in free agency and the draft to get to where we need to be is something we need to also take a look at. We need to get playmakers on the defensive side of the ball. And we need another receiver that's going to make a difference on this team as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what our plans are. What's going on, Matt? What's going on, bro? How you doing, man? If you guys are here, I would definitely appreciate it if you guys left a thumbs up. That would be amazing, just so we can get this out there. Let's see. Before we get off, let's look at a couple more positions. So let's look at safety, because I definitely think we need to upgrade at safety as well. You know what else we could do? Ooh, man, there's some good safeties on this list. Look at this stuff, guys. Here, let me show you. So these are a list of free agent safeties. Got Tyrann Mathieu. We got Devin McCourty. I'll pass on him because he's pretty old. Marcus Williams. I know he's kind of known for missing the tackle on who was it? Stephon Diggs, the Minnesota Miracle. But he's definitely very solid. He's young. He's 25 years old. There's Marcus May. There's Quandre Diggs, who had a Pro Bowl year this year, if I'm correct on that. And then where is Jesse Bates? Because I know Jesse was in a contract year. Is he not anymore? Did he get re-signed or something? No, there he is right there. Jesse Bates would be this guy is arguably the best safety in the entire league, and he's set to hit free agency for the Cincinnati Bengals, assuming they don't re-sign him. But yeah, they're looking at Jesse Bates, 5 years, $72 million for him. That's basically his market value. Probably looking at around $14.5 million per year. I honestly think we are better off rolling with Hurts for another season and building him around him and more up on the defense. I totally agree. I mean, Russell Wilson's a great quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. Deshaun Watson, I know he's dealing with what he's dealing with, but if you put that to the side, his talent, you can't really question it either. I understand why guys are saying that Jalen Hurts doesn't do all the things that we need to do him at quarterback right now. I get it. And you know what? Not every quarterback is perfect when they're first starting their first full season. You guys got to keep that in mind, that this was his first full season as a starting quarterback. Yes, he's a second-year quarterback, technically. I get it. But Jalen Hurts was used as a gadget player pretty much his first season. You guys remember with Doug Peterson, they would bring him in like certain plays and like Carson Wentz would be lined up as a wide receiver. Like, it was weird. It was weird. They didn't use him as an actual quarterback until Carson Wentz was so bad that they basically said, you know what? Drafted this kid in the second round. What does he have? What can he really do? And then we found out what he could do a little bit in 2020, but it wasn't enough. So this season, we really found out what this guy can do, and we need to build on it. All right. So the thing about Jalen Hurts is he has really good intangibles. All right. No, he doesn't have like the cannon of an arm. He doesn't have that. All right. What he does have is leadership. What he does have is a work ethic that nobody in the world can question. And that was put on display. So as far as with him worrying about what's he going to do in the offseason, like with Carson Wentz, what were we talking about with him? Mechanically, he was not getting better year to year, and that really showed with the results on the field. The deep ball accuracy with Wentz, at times the ball would just flutter. He wasn't making accurate throws. He was holding the ball too long, everything like that. Just wasn't very good at situational football. All right, and it wasn't just Carson Wentz was good at that at one point in 2017. We kept saying 2018, 2019. Every year we kept saying, all right, he needs to do this, this, and that, and get better. He did not do that. And that's what happened in 2020. Everything just kind of fell apart. Jalen Hurts is going to work his ass off. He's always worked his ass off wherever he's been. No one can question that this guy's going to put the work in. So it's just a result of those work, him working with the right people, putting the hours in with the right people, that's going to get him to a higher level. And I think Jalen will take a better step. You guys also got to keep in mind that Jalen Hurts has pretty much been in a different offensive system every year for the past 4 years, I believe. So he was at Alabama. Then he transferred to Oklahoma. He's in the Lincoln Riley system, where he really, really improved as a passer under Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. He was second place in Heisman voting to only Joe Burrow. Joe Shiesty in the Super Bowl for the Cincinnati Bengals this year. It's going to be a good game against the Rams. So he really improved in that regard. Then he goes to the NFL. He's in Doug Peterson's system. Doug gets let go. Now he's in Nick Sirianni's system. Assuming he comes back as a quarterback next year, that's going to be 2 years that he's in the same offensive system. So that's another reason I think that he's going to continue to grow and get better. Because to me, drafting a quarterback, drafting a quarterback shouldn't even be an option. Shouldn't even be an option if you look at a lot of the guys. Excuse me. If you look at a lot of the guys that we do have to choose from. Drafting a quarterback or trading a lot for a QB. Yeah, we obviously have a lot of needs on our defense. Like I was saying, we just don't have enough playmakers on the defensive side of the ball, which is kind of why I alluded to the Green Bay Packers being $44 million over the cap, being in a rebuilding situation. We could definitely package our first-round pick or one of our first-round picks to them, and then we get a top 5 corner that's 25 years old in his prime, and we can basically use him as one of the cornerstone pieces of our defense. The other thing people forget is Jalen's young. Jalen Hurts is 23 years old. If you look at the other young quarterbacks that are around his age that are, playing their first full season as a starting quarterback, even if you look at some of the rookies, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, anyone like that, Jalen Hurts will be on par or better than those guys because he outplayed all of them this year. Do I really think they'll trade him? I don't necessarily think they want to trade him, Jordan, but there's a few things, and this is what I was talking about earlier. It's just a situation that they're in. So the Packers are $44 million over the cap right now. You have the situation with Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams going on. So they're trying to work that out. Is Aaron Rodgers coming back? Is Davante coming back? That seems to be their main priority, is getting those two guys to go back to Green Bay. It may or may not happen. It seems more likely that it won't. It seems like kind of a pipe dream. So even if they do want to re-sign Jaire to a deal, he's basically going into a contract year going into next year. He's got 1 year left on his contract. So he's owed $13 million next year. I don't really think it makes sense with the Packers to be spending all this money on guys. Situation that they're in. So obviously we could get them a top 16 pick in the draft. They can take the best corner. If that's what they choose to do, they can take a wide receiver. They can take an offensive lineman and build around Jordan Love. And then we can also throw in some other stuff. Future third-round pick, Andre Dillard, developmental offensive lineman for them. And then the Eagles get a young corner to be the cornerstone of this defense moving forward. Pairing him with Darius Slay would create some real issues for years to come. And then the history just kind of shows you, if you think about it, when was the last time the Eagles had a homegrown corner that was really, really good? You can look at guys like Asante Samuel. You can look at guys like Darius Slay, obviously. Malcolm Jenkins, he was a safety. But these guys were all from other teams. I guess you could throw Sheldon Brown in that mix. Lito Shepherd, they were a really, really good duo. But that's pretty much it, man. Like, other than that, we have not been able to develop at that position. So that's why I really think that we could go after Jaire Alexander being in a contract year and everything like that. Marshawn Lattimore, that's true. The Saints are in an even worse situation, just with them being 75 million or something over the cap. So they're definitely going to be making some decisions of their own. Definitely going to be making some decisions of their own. But that's really that. I went over that earlier when we first started, but that's really why I think it makes sense for both sides. It may or may not happen. It's just an idea. Whew. Nope. No, thank you, Matt. I can't get over Eagles fans wanting Michael Thomas. That's a hard pass for me. It's a even harder pass for me because we see that this guy is nowhere near the level that anyone put him at in the past. Oh, he's the best. Like, there was a point that people actually thought he was the best receiver in the league. There was a point where I was arguing with people, whether it was on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, anywhere, that people were talking about this, claiming that Michael Thomas was the best receiver in the league, saying that he's over DeAndre Hopkins, who at the time was the best, and then Devontae Adams, who's kind of taken over like that number one spot in the league, but he was still in the top five. Any type of guys like that, saying that he was over these guys. And I'm like, you're talking about a guy that can only do slants, and he was getting force-feeded the ball by Drew Brees, and he ended up breaking some record. But you want to say that he's elite. And it's been proven that he isn't. When Drew Brees was hurt last year, Michael Thomas spent like most of this season hurt. But when he does not play with Drew Brees, what is he doing? Like, what does he even bring to the table? Doesn't bring anything to the table. So that's why, yeah, I'm not interested in that. You think you guys would give up picks or add a player? It depends on who the player is. Like, I don't think that we should give up all three of our first round picks for one player. It would have to be a really, really good player. It would have to be, I mean, if the Chiefs are getting rid of Mahomes, then but I ain't gonna go into this because this is not Madden. Voice crack. This is not Madden that we're talking about. So, yeah, not happening. I just don't think that. I think the Eagles need to upgrade this roster. I think they need to get a lot more talent on defense. I think our offense is not that bad. Outside of Jalen Reagor, I think our offense is really good, actually. I think Smitty's a really good young receiver that we're building around. Quez Watkins is solid too. Dallas Goedert's really good. Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott, Jordan Howard. We have a good stable of running backs. We have a good offensive line. We have Jalen Hurts, who brings a lot to the table as a dual threat quarterback. But we don't really have like that consistent number two receiver. I think a consistent number two receiver is the only thing we really need in our offense. Our defense needs help. We need help. We need edge rushers. We need linebackers. We need safeties. And we need another corner. And that's why I think trading for a guy like Jaire Alexander makes sense. Packers are over the cap. We can give up a first round pick. Juju wouldn't be bad. As much of that said about Juju, he's just not a number one receiver, but we wouldn't need him to do that. Here, at best, Juju would probably be our third option. If Juju is our third option, I think that that's perfectly fine. And Juju he can actually bring stuff to the table other than just catching the ball. He can actually do pretty well as a run blocker as well. I mean, we saw what he did to, what was his name? From the Bengals. The guy who basically gave the guy who basically gave Antonio, his name is slipping my mind, but he's pretty much the Zaza Pachulia of the NFL. Like, the guy was a total piece of shit. The guy was always making dirty plays, so it's going to be good to see guys like him not get a ring because he's not on the current Bengals team. If they win the Super Bowl, I think that's going to be an interesting game anyway. Yeah, I mean, I would give up first. If Aaron Rodgers is the only quarterback that I would say, hey, you know what? Go get him. Like, if you told me that we had to get another quarterback and we cannot bring back Jalen Hurts next year, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers 100%. Because regardless of what people say about him choking in the playoffs, yes, it was a very bad performance by him. But this guy's a 4-time league MVP. He's a 4 or 5-time All-Pro. Okay, he's been the best quarterback in the league for Vontaze Burfict. Yep. Name was just slipping my mind. Honestly, have a lot of respect for OBJ going up to Debo. Yeah, I mean, I saw that. It was a really good gesture by Odell. Odell is somebody that he's actually, Odell's becoming like that veteran guy. He's actually been around the league for a long time, so it was really cool to see that because what it shows with Odell is that Odell has had he's grown up. He's matured a lot. And I'm very happy to see Odell even make it to the Super Bowl. A lot of people have just been talking about Matthew Stafford and everything this whole time, being in Detroit, his whole career, and then here he is in the Super Bowl. I think that's great for him, but Odell is the guy that I'm really happy for just because he is with 2 organizations that completely wasted his talent when he was really, really young. And then they painted a picture of him like he was the villain, like he was the bad guy, like everything was his fault. He's a cancer. He's this. All he cares about is targets. He doesn't care about targets. Look at Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp's clearly their number 1 receiver. Odell's not talking about targets. Odell just wants to win football games. Cleveland doesn't know how to win football games. The Giants sure as hell don't know how to win football games. So if you want to talk about Odell being selfish and everything like that, no, the guy, it's pretty simple. He just wants to win. And then they painted a picture like him. For him to really overcome everything that he's went through is just a really, really good story. And either way, whatever happens, the Bengals are probably a team that no one expected to be in this position, to be going to the Super Bowl, anything like that. For them to win a ring after all that would really be amazing to see. And Joe Burrow, the whole team, like they're definitely riding with him. Everyone believes in him. He really believes in himself, so it would be a great story. But on the other side, man, I would absolutely love. Yeah, see you later, Jordan. I would absolutely love to see Odell win a Super Bowl after everything that he's gone through. We shall see. I would love to see the Bengals win. Yeah, obviously, being a fan of a team that just won their first Super Bowl in the last few years, I'm always going to be happy to see a team, with the exception of a few teams. I probably wouldn't say that about Minnesota, just because of how their fans acted when we won the Super Bowl, when we beat them in the playoffs. Even though I have a really good friend that's a Vikings fan, Mike Booth. He's been on our show a few times. A lot of Vikings fans are crybabies, though, and I can't fucking stand them. Yeah, and it was just pretty funny that they did all this stuff. They put Vikings gear on the Rocky statue, which, by the way, I just want to say this. It's so played out, the whole Rocky statue thing. People are always, anytime we play somebody, it could be whatever sport, it can be the Sixers or the Eagles or whatever team. Bunch of fans come to Philly for the first time. They're tourists. They're going around and stuff. So they're putting Vikings gear or whatever type of gear on the Rocky statue. Everybody does the same shit. It's like really annoying because if you were a person that lives in Philly or you're from Philly, guess what? You don't care. Like, we really don't care about the Rocky statue. A lot of people go there. The main reason a lot of people go there is because they like to work out. Like, a lot of people run up the steps all the time, just like for cardio. But no one cares about that. That's literally a tourist attraction. So they think that they're doing something by going to a statue of a character, a movie character. And not hating on the Rocky series because it's one of my favorite series to watch. Right? Sylvester Stallone is definitely a legend. But we don't care. Like, we don't care about that. They care more about it than we do. And it's just like it's so played out and lame that they continue to do this. What's up, Donnie? What's up, man? The Bengals remind me of the 2017 Eagles underdog story. Yeah, I mean, no one thought the Bengals would be here. No one thought the Bengals would be here at all. Do I think the Eagles should build around? Do I think we should stick with Jalen Hurts, or do I think we should draft a quarterback? I don't know about you. I don't know about anyone else. I would much rather have Jalen Hurts for another year than have Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett, Matt Corral, someone like that. Because these guys have very, very low ceilings. Very, very low ceilings. And I'm not saying Jalen Hurts has a ceiling that he's going to be a stud. He's going to be a superstar. What I do believe, though, is if we build around Jalen Hurts, he's going to put us in a better chance than one of those guys will. And I do think that Jalen Hurts in certain situations this year, being 2-5, a lot of the team could have mailed it in and said, hey, you know what? We're 2-5. We're not ready yet. Let's just kind of fuck it. Let's mail it in. Let's not try to do anything this year. But Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni really turned this team around, and they didn't lose the locker room. And that says a lot about not only Nick Sirianni as a coach, but Jalen Hurts as a leader. He commanded this team with such poise, got this team in the playoffs. He was a playmaker. A lot of the plays he made with his legs, a lot of people don't give him credit for that. In fact, they give him even less credit for that because, he's not passing for 500 yards. He's not passing for 400 yards, 350 yards a game. All right. I'm not saying he doesn't need to improve as a passer because this is a passing league. But Jalen Hurts making plays is what really got us into the position that we were in. So if he continues to develop himself, puts in the right people around him that's going to work with him during the offseason, passing coaches. There's a lot of guys that work with people in the offseason and, develop their skills. Look at Josh Allen. I know, and I'm not comparing Jalen Hurts to Josh Allen as a quarterback. They're two different types of quarterbacks. But, a lot of the same issues were really mechanically with Josh Allen, and they're really mechanically issues with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts does not have a noodle arm. Voice cracked again. He does not have a noodle arm like a lot of people are saying. He has a decent arm. He doesn't have a rocket. He doesn't have like a Mahomes, Josh Allen arm. He's got a decent arm, though. What he needs to fix is his footwork and the way he anticipates throws. Knowing that Devontae Smith is such a good route runner, he's going to get open. You just have to trust him that he's going to be in that spot at this time, at that moment. So you're just throwing it to him. You're basically throwing the ball to where it's going to be before it's going to be there. All right? Because that's how that's just something that comes with time. His timing and the way he anticipates certain throws is probably the biggest thing he needs to fix. If he does that, he's going to improve so much as a passer. And then we know what he can do running the football. It creates a lot of panic for defenses because Jalen Hurts is very effective doing that. All right. So when you're stacking the box, what are you going to do? Because if you think Miles Sanders is going to get it, because Miles Sanders, we didn't really utilize him, and we haven't utilized him enough since we drafted him. Miles Sanders is capable of taking the ball 70 yards in a blink of an eye. He has that type of playmaking talent. So are you going to always be zoned in on Jalen Hurts and his threat to run the ball? Because if you are, it's going to open everything up for this stable of running backs. That's one of the biggest reasons the Eagles were pretty much the best rushing team in the National Football League, because they had more than one guy that could do a lot of damage. It wasn't just, for example, the Indianapolis Colts. We saw the last game of the season on the line. What happens? Jonathan Taylor, as great as he was, he got shut down. The Colts didn't have a stable of running backs that were capable. We have Miles Sanders, who's capable. Kenneth Gainwell, very capable as a rookie, had 7 rushing touchdowns. Jordan Howard kind of showed that he still belongs in him. The Eagles were the only team that was interested. So he came back and showed some things. We had guys that were capable. The Colts didn't have that. So when Jonathan Taylor got shut down, their whole running game got shut down, and Carson Wentz was forced to be the guy, and he wasn't. So that's really the big thing with us, is that we have a lot of guys that can do damage. Yeah, I think his arm strength is good enough. Just needs to improve on anticipation and field vision. Totally agree with that. I have a feeling that we're unfortunately stuck with Jonathan Gannon for another year. Yeah, you know what? I think we are too. I'm not saying I think Jonathan Gannon is a great defensive coordinator. In fact, if he lands the job with the Houston Texans, which I'm not going to get into everything, but we know that Brian Flores is trying to sue the NFL for their unethical practices. And I just want to say, without getting too political, yeah, the Rooney Rule is a complete joke. It's a sham. It makes the NFL look like they look like total idiots right now. If the stuff's true, because you know what, I'm just gonna say it. I think that Brian Flores is telling the truth, but bro, like if this is true, that Brian Daboll had already been given the job, oh my God. If that's true, and then they brought him in, they brought the other Brian Flores, for a half-ass interview, that is the most disrespectful, messed up thing I can think of. The Rooney Rule is the best thing ever. What's going on, PR52? What's going on, brother? No, you better. If you keep it up, bro, I'm going to report you to the documentary bros. I'm going to tell them you beat me up. Just like you beat up Fox. But 100% agree with the Rooney Rule. But, yeah, as I was saying, if Jonathan Gannon got the job with the Houston Texans during when this whole thing's going on, and then, bro, I'm just saying, man, if that happened, everyone's going to freak out. Because Jonathan Gannon, you guys can say he's a good or bad defensive coordinator with any way you want to go. He's not qualified to be a head coach. He's certainly not more qualified than a guy like Brian Flores. So if he gets a job, if he gets an opportunity, good for him. But the NFL, these owners, these organizations they're really making themselves, they're proving it. They're proving that they're corrupt. They're proving that this league is messed up. in so many ways, unfortunately. But to the point of Jonathan Gannon, I'm on the fence with him. I do not think he's a great defensive coordinator in any way. Okay? But I also it's the same thing I said with Jim Schwartz. Every year I said this. I said we have no playmakers on that side of the ball. We have really good defensive linemen when Jim Schwartz was here. We have good defensive linemen now. We have Darius Slay. But how many guys on the Eagles defense can you look at and say, yep, that guy's a game changer? That guy is capable of making a play, a defensive play that's going to turn the tide of the entire game. You can't really say that because other than Darius Slay, we don't really have that. I think that we need another edge rusher that's capable of getting 10-plus sacks. I think Josh Sweat, I'm very happy that he got his first Pro Bowl nod, but Josh Sweat is capable of getting 10 sacks a year, I believe. I believe he has the talent and skill to do that if Jonathan Gannon will utilize him and this entire defensive line correctly. But what we need is another edge rusher that's capable of getting double-digit sacks. So whether that's a trade acquisition, whether that's a free agent signing, or one of our 3 first-round picks, we desperately need another great edge rusher. We need a consistent linebacker that's capable of going sideline to sideline, able to cover running backs and tight ends at a decently high level. That's what we need. And then we need guys that are just going to be able to make plays in the secondary. Anthony Harris, Rodney McLeod, those guys are solid guys. They're not scrubs. They're not terrible. They're not. I like both of them. But we need guys that are going to make plays. We need guys that these quarterbacks got to wonder, man, I don't want to throw that way because got a great guy on that side of the field. He can go up, get the interception, take a pick six. We need playmakers. Jonathan Gannon, you can't really say that he has a lot to work with. So if he does come back and the defense struggles again and we don't have the same, and we have pretty much the same result, but we have upgraded roster, upgraded players, then yeah, he got to go. But if he gets the job and we get a new coordinator, I'm also okay with that. Yeah, when Brandon Graham went down, it was probably the biggest loss that we had of the whole year. A lot of people kind of forgot about it. But yeah, Brandon Graham has been consistent. Brandon Graham has been productive. He's been able to get the job done year in and year out. No, he's not having like mind-blowing numbers, but he's always affecting the game in some way. He's always a really good run defender. He's always at least hitting the quarterback, if not getting sacks. He's always doing it. He's always doing something. He's always getting around the ball. He's always getting turnovers, strip sacks, fumbles, whatever you want to say. So when he went down, it had a huge impact on the pass rush, had a huge impact on the entire defense. So getting him back is huge, and drafting a guy or, getting another guy that's capable of getting double-digit sacks will also be huge. I feel like it's more of a talent issue than a schematic issue. That's exactly what I'm saying here. We also need better depth because, obviously we saw that in the final game of the season against the Dallas Cowboys when we didn't have any starters or anybody playing. Basically our entire backup secondary was just getting destroyed every play. So, definitely needs to be depth and it's upgraded all around at that overall position. Well, guys, I didn't even know that we're going to be able to go for this long. It's almost been an hour, actually. So if you guys don't mind leaving a thumbs up and also subscribe to Sideline Sports, because it's also going to be where we're having the Gauntlet um, podcast, the show that we do on every Saturday night. This Saturday, we're going to be having our award show. So I already have like a lot of the things. They're already set up. I actually don't have it on the stream, but we have a lot of awards. We have different categories. Oh, I have them right here. So, game of the year, catch of the year, most surprising team, most disappointing team, MVP, defensive player of the year, rising stars on offense and defense, young rising stars, and of course, everyone's favorite, the Sports Moron of the Year. So, the Sports Moron of the Year nominees, if you guys want to vote for that, I do have a poll on my channel. You guys can go check out. The nominees are Ben Simmons, the 76ers. You have Urban Meyer and John Gruden, and you also have Baker Mayfield. So definitely not a wrong answer there, but whoever you guys think is the dumbest person in 2021 in all of sports, definitely go ahead and cast your vote, because that's definitely going to be a fun conversation this weekend. Yeah, Barnett can absolutely go. This guy has more 15-yard penalties than sacks. This guy gets more penalties than he actually affects the game. He affects the game. Like, you can't really say he doesn't have impact on the game, because he has an impact on the game, but in a negative way for us. He affects it in a positive way for the other team, because he's giving them 15 free yards. But yeah, we definitely don't. We definitely would not miss Barnett. Probably Urban Meyer. Yep. I mean, yeah, like I said, man, there's really not a wrong answer. But anyway, guys, Donnie, Matt, PR, all you guys, man. Jordan, who was in here for a little while, Marquette, Snapback, Grizz, all you guys, man. Thank you guys for continuing to support. We will see you guys on Saturday night. Hopefully, you guys are going to be able to watch the show, the award show, like I said. Going to be live here on my channel and Sideline Sports. Thank you to Sideline Sports Network for sponsoring the Gauntlet. Can't wait to talk about it with Tyler, Jay, Detroit Dom, and all the guys, man. It's going to be a fantastic time. And I look forward to seeing you guys there. But anyway, this is your host of the Most Philly Jim. Thank you guys, and go Birds.